Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel and to the Job Files Dead Edition. It's about the kind of a joke that goes around here in my household. My daughters, since they were little kids, they ask me, what do I do for a living? And sometimes it's hard to explain when you work with data engineering, with artificial intelligence and data science. And now they're grown-ups. I'm trying it again. So I would like to welcome my daughter Izzy. Hey Izzy, how are you doing?
Hi Dad, hey everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Izzy. Like my dad said, I never know what to answer when my friends or people that I know ask me, what does your dad do for a living? What is his job? I know that one of the many things that he works with and helps out with is AI. So Dad, how would you explain AI to somebody that doesn't speak computer?
That's a great question, Izzy. AI is like a dream, it's like a utopia. When the modern age of computers came along, this group of engineers, this group of computer architects, they're like, what if we create a computer that would process data like our brains do? What if we create a computer that mimics the way that our brains collect the data and process the data? So that was the idea, the first idea of AI, try to simulate or emulate how our brains work. So they came up lately with formulas. Actually, they came up with statistical models that can try to work with the data like we do and predict in the probability what would be the next step to do. Because doing calculations is just crunching numbers. What our intelligence is trying to actually do all the time is to make informed decisions, try to understand what would be the next step. And computers, AI, they're pretty much based on statistical models that they actually calculate what would be the next probable step based on the data that the model has seen before. So AI, in a nutshell, it's a collection of mathematical statistical models, and they base their calculations on data they have already seen and try to predict what's going to be the next data that will show up.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense of how we started. It definitely feels like the future and resembles flying cars, except it beat flying cars. Flying cars are not yet
Yeah.
made. You did mention statistics and all the engineering behind that. What does statistics really have to do with how AI works?
So nowadays, with so much data available on the internet, they trained a lot of these statistical models on the data that's on the internet, and they were able to create models smart enough that are able to write. What these models do, they look into what has been written by us, right, by everybody that publishes stuff, publish content on the internet, and they learn what the next probable word would be based on a particular context and what has been written before. So, there's so much data and so much compute power invested on these things that we got models that behave as good as we have seen before. Models that are able to create, theses and creating books, and writing very good essays because they based the writing on the writings of other people, of people who wrote things and published on the internet, and now they can kind of mimic them just by utilizing statistical calculations on what the next word would be based on the context and the previous words already written.
Wow, that makes so much sense. I definitely use AI to help me predict the next thing that I'm gonna think about or do, but why do we really need AI? Like, why was it truly invented?
Great question. So the key word here is scalability, is the ability to do more with the same amount of resources. And the resources here are the human being. Imagine, for instance, that you have an artist, someone that really knows, let's say, Photoshop, and you need to learn, you need to work on a picture. You need to remove something from the picture and fill up the gap with whatever background would that be. If it's the beach, it's the sand, the ocean. So you would have someone there, patching the picture, writing and drawing on top of the picture. So you can have someone really good doing that kind of work. But if your business grow, you're gonna find another person to do that. And if it keeps growing, you have to find more and more people. And the bottom line is there are not that many people out there that knows how to do these things in Photoshop, for instance. The idea of AI is if you show to AI a lot of work that you've been doing this Photoshop work patch, and showing a lot of pictures of the same kind of a background, the same kind of scenario, AI can learn from you what would be the replacement for the holes you have to patch, to draw on. So the whole idea of AI, it's scalability, is to allow business to process more data, to talk to people like customer service scenario, to talk to more people using the same amount of resources, but talk to them in at least at the first level at a scale, be able to assist more and more customers. And when a particular need shows up, then the person, a real person, would come in. Because one thing that AI doesn't have is creativity. AI learns based on what AI have seen. If it's a scenario that hasn't been shown to AI before, AI doesn't know what to do. So creativity is something that belongs to human beings. So AI will never replace human beings. Actually, the idea of AI is to allow freedom for human beings, for people like you and me, to do more creative stuff, while the repetitive stuff is given to machines that are great in doing repetitive stuff. AI doesn't have a soul. Soul is, and creativity is innate to us, by God to us, and we can pass that along to AI.
Yes, that is very important. It's definitely something that I use to help me in my creativity, but it shouldn't substitute it. One more question, a final question. How do you use AI in your job? How do you improve AI in what you do? This is the big question and the big answer that I have to have for my peers.
Another good question. So the idea is when my customers show up with an AI scenario and then with a use case when they would like to use AI, what I do is on my activities, on my day-to-day, I use their data. I ask them about their data, and we collect this data together. We present the data for a particular statistical model or a pre-trained model that it's already there, depending on the use case. And we train the model with that data, and we implement that solution to the company, right? Like if the company wants to understand how their financials are going on and what would be a big expense coming in, we can get the data that are all the expenditures that happened in the past, the budget planning, all of that. We can train the models, and then we can give the next budget design that they're coming up with, the next budget proposal, go through the model and explain how that would affect business based on what has happened in the past. That goes along into many other scenarios. For instance, we can get the company's data if it's a health-related company, right? A human health-related company. We can get the data about how a particular demographic works and how a particular demographic in a particular area has reacted to particular situations, and you can predict what's going to happen in the next flu season, for instance. So there we go. We use AI. I help companies using AI by getting their data, presenting to AI models that can be either pre-trained or starting from scratch, and deploy those trained models to them so they can leverage the predictions in their day-to-day activity. And of course, generative AI, the AI we use like ChatGPT and all of that, they're also in place when we get their pre-trained models that already have trained, and we present the company's data to those models so those models can start answering questions on human language, right? As human interactions, even talking to them so they can speak to their data.
Okay, now I understand more of what you do. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this first video. Let us know in the comments below if you have any questions or topics you guys want to talk about, and we'll see you guys on the next video.